Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing part 2 of 10 Cards 1 Kit Simon Says Stamp March Kit. And I'm starting with cutting circles out with this Spellbinder scalloped edge circles into the bright colored cardstock that came in the kit. I'm going to be stamping some of the circles that were in the kit. And some of them I will stamp with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Some of them I am going to gold emboss. So there is the Simon Says sticky ink, and the gold is actually from my stash. Now I'm using this beautiful blue violet paper and the lime green paper from the kit. The blue is going to be the sky or the violet, and I'm making the ground out of the green, and I cut an extra little hillside with and gluing it down with the Tombow glue. And I want to show you, I just cut this out freehand, just going up and down, which is no big deal. You may have a grass dye that you like. I am putting a little bit of the mounting tape on just the upper part of the hill and sticking it on there so that it will stick up enough to make a contrast and show some shadow, and you can see that there. Now I'm going to show you these stamps that I'm using with the embossing ink and embossing powder, and I made some there are some of the flowers right there, and then I made some stems with a stamp that I have that I use many times, and I'm erasing my little chalk marks there. And this is a stamp set from Dilutions, and I used the black and white for the stems. I love that look. And there's the stamp right there, and just stamp it off on a strip and then cut it apart as you need it, whatever length you need. And so there goes another one. And I will be putting down some more flowers, and with their centers. Some of the stems go behind the hill, some of them go in front of the hill. Now, I've actually seen some people make art journal pages where they actually draw these stems themselves and color in the black lines, but that's I'm a little lazy for that. So, but I've seen Vicky of Greece do that and others, and I think that's really neat. But I've got the stamp, so I'm using it, and here's some stems, some more, and some more flowers. And this one is too long, so I'll cut it off. And so you can see I'm using the bright colors from the card kit, and they just look so good against that blue violet background with the lime green. So I'm pushing that down pretty good. I made some centers for the flowers with some punches. Not all of them, and then gluing those down, which I very seldom just glue straight on, but this I didn't think I would be repositioning it very much. So and then one more pink center, and I'll go back and trim off the edges, the stems that are overhanging, and the hillside that's overhanging. And then I want to put on one of the sentiments that came with the kit. You're amazing, and I really like the way that turned out. It brightens my day when I look at it. So now you can see the embossing and how that turned out. And then also, if you wanted to make this a larger card and really brighten it up even more, you could mount it on some white paper. And so I wanted to show you that option. It makes the stems really pop, I think. So now the next card is the Sidestep card. I'm going to be using the little llama stamp set and the sentiments from the big set, and I'll explain the Sidestep card in a minute. That last card was a 5x7, and this card will be a 5x7, and there are the sentiments that I'm going to cut apart. You'll see that, but I'm going to go back and color the llama. I'm also going to cut him out. I used the Millennium pens to color his hat, make it really dark black, and a copper pencil. These are Prismacolors. And so I'm going to do some paper piecing here on his little clothing for the llama. I colored the bow tie, and then I also wanted to cover up the shamrocks because this is not a St. Patrick's Day type card, and you'll see in a minute what I'm going to do. But so I'm coloring that in, and I'm going to cut out the little bow tie and the little blanket that goes over his back. Of course, I didn't really need to paper piece a color that bow tie. I think I originally intended to leave that the regular paper, pattern paper, but I colored it, so there it is. It's done. And anyway, but then I'm going to cut out his little blanket that goes over his back, and show you how that goes. Now, these are 2 Sidestep cards I've made in the past if you want to go back and look at them on my YouTube channel, but I wanted to show how they work, and these are the measurements. It comes down to 5 by 7, but the you use a 10 by 7 piece of paper, and you'll cut a strip up to 6 inches, and you can see it there, and it's a 2-inch wide strip, and then the that side you score 4 inches, 4 inches, 1 inch. On the other side where I already scored, that's 5 inches, and which is half the width. But you will see, or I guess the height I should say, but you will see as I fold these up, it'll start making more sense. And I'm going to show you another picture of that, the measurements, in a minute if you want to copy those off. Generally, I don't make the slit all the way to the bottom, but this time I thought, why not? It's going to be covered with pattern paper, and it might make it just a little easier just to make one slit. But when you fold it up, you can see why that's called a Sidestep card. I'm using the pattern paper, the 2 shades of blue for the sky, and the 1 shade of green, this particular one that I needed to piece because I ran out. It wasn't long enough to cover that base. So the llama is going to come in a minute. And by the way, I did cut that beautiful piece of yellow to go on the back. Gives it real contrast. And then these are the little sentiments. Take one step at a time. Take it one step at a time. And you'll see the reason for that. And then fantastic. And I'm cutting out so very, because I want it to mean so very fantastic. My husband and I had the wonderful opportunity of going to Machu Picchu, which is such a highlight of our lives, really. And I'm going to show you a picture here in a minute. And now I'm gluing this down with the Tombow glue. I thought about using the little flowers and took them off. And at Machu Picchu in Peru, and by the way, here comes his little clothing that I'm going to glue down. But at Machu Picchu, they have llamas there on this top of this mountain to be their living lawnmowers. And so when I saw a llama, I couldn't help but think of Machu Picchu. And so I'm bringing in some pictures, and I'm using another piece of the pattern paper, and then I'm going to put a picture on top of it to be mounted, and bring in a little bit of the pinky red to go with the picture, and then the blue for the sky goes with the picture. And you can see it just slides down on that step, and it would be a great photo holder. And so there is Machu Picchu. If you don't know anything about it, I really suggest you look it up. It is fascinating, the story behind this place. So but if you were with your kids or your grandkids at the zoo and you saw a llama, or out in the country you saw a llama, you could take pictures of them and do exactly the same thing, and just have that be a little photo gallery there. So I thought you could use that for so many things, just as to set pictures out that are current at that time. Your Easter pictures, or Christmas pictures, or vacation pictures, or anything really. And so I just want to show you how the Sidestep works. You can see the how it shows through. And so I will stack it back up there, but I hope you enjoy that and maybe give it a try if you haven't done one already. There are many ways to make Sidestep cards, by the way. This is not the only way. So now the next card is a larger card, actually. It is a 6.5 by 7, so you'd have to have a larger envelope for sure. But pattern paper again, and then the colored cardstock, and I'm going to use these holes that are punched out, but and put them up against the pattern paper, but I wanted to add a little more interest, so I took some strips of the same red, but the dark version, and glued it down onto the back of the piece of cardstock that has the holes punched out of it, or die cut, and glued those down so that when you put it down, you definitely have the illusion of the two print papers. Now the green goes in there, so this is really bright colored. I measured the middle of the black and measured the middle of the green so that I could line them up. And that makes it really easy to just slide the yellow in and to slide the orange in. And with the glue already down, it all just goes down really fast. And so I used these stickers, the shamrock stickers in the kit. I realize St. Patrick's Day is over. I'm just running late here, so I apologize for that, but you could use it next year, or use the idea, or use something else besides the shamrocks. But it is an idea of how to make a card. And so I'm filling in these circles with the different shamrocks down the middle, another one, and then they had these words, St. Patrick's Day, so I cut them apart so they would fit on the green strip down the middle, and put up the saint, another shamrock. You almost can't see it here on camera, but it shows up much better in person. And then Patrick's, there was a little green heart that worked out really well, and then day. Now you can see here in just a minute on the back, I'm going to glue it down onto its card base, and the card base is much smaller. It works fine, and I could have made one to fit, but I would have had to splice two pieces of paper together because this is a 6.5 by 7, but that's fine. I just thought it did all right for now anyway. And so there you have up close and personal what it looks like. And I hope you enjoy that and maybe give that a try. Now the next card is made with some of the stickers from the kit. The pattern paper here, I just roughly cut a hillside and used some of the ink from the kit to put a little edge on it, on the edge there. With the Simon Says Lucky ink. Now the bottom hill, I took some paper out of my stash because I wanted a contrast, but I'm using this same stamp that I used on the stems from Delusions because it is curvable, and I wanted to curve it and make a hillside and stamp that on there. And then I took the leftover from the light green, flipped it over, and used it as a kind of a stencil for some clouds, and used a makeup sponge with some light blue ink to make a sky. So here are the stickers. I call them Jack and Jill of St. Patrick's Day. Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water. And so I'm peeling the paper off the back, the protective paper, and this well, again, you can see how these stickers, the little pieces come out on either side of the bucket. I think it's so nice the way they're made, where you can peel that off and see the background behind the bucket and the well. So I'm placing the guy and the girl, and some of the little flowers I'm pulling off, and I'm just putting them along the edge of the hillside. Then I thought, well, maybe they'd look better if they were tucked behind the hill, and that's fine too, but I brought them back out. And then the third little flower up on the hill, and there you have a very simple, and I was trying to play with the flowers there and decided to not use them, but just a very simple little St. Patrick's Day card for a child, I think. And this is a a 6 card, 4.5 by 6 1/4, and I wanted to just show how that will fit perfectly into an envelope. And there you have that one. So now this is the last card of the day. This is an A2, 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm using the pattern paper again, the light purple for the sky and light green for the ground. And this sticker is, I am assuming this little girl is with Simon, because it looks like the Simon dog to me. So she is thinking of unicorns in the sky with the clouds. One of the unicorns is going to be on top of a cloud, and one of them is going to have the cloud behind his head. And so I'm just saying this little girl has her feet on the ground, but her head in the clouds. And so she is dreaming away. And there are some little gold hearts I'm going to put on the card, a little blue star that I'm going to add to it. And there she is. I am going to end up changing and move that heart on the left over to the right, and finally get to use that little flower and leaf. That's just about all I had left of the stickers. So but anyway, this will fit in an A2 envelope, and I just wanted to show you that too. Sometimes we just take it for granted, you know, these will fit in an envelope. But so that is it. I'm going to show you some still shots of all 5 cards. I hope you like them, got some ideas. There are the measurements if you need to pause that and refer to those measurements. But thank you for joining me. There's some more videos at the end that you might like to see. I'll refer one of the Sidestep cards. But thanks again. See you next time.